If I were to define weight loss in a nutshell, I'd say that it's simple but not easy. The theory is simple. You eat less calories than you need to maintain your weight, and that's based on established formulas and calorie amounts. But the actual doing part, the sticking to your calorie amounts and following a diet that puts you into an appropriate caloric deficit part, that's difficult. And while the importance of eating food that you enjoy and leveraging powerful weight loss principles like a high protein diet and fiber is critical, there's a lot to be said for your mindset too. In today's episode, I'm going to run you through 10 powerful mindset tips that can help you to lose weight by changing how you think about food as well as yourself. Some of these seem so simple, but I can bet you don't consciously do them. But by the end of this podcast, you'll know how to use these tips strategically to improve your chances of successful weight loss. Hey and welcome to Vegetarian Health and Longevity, the podcast where we cover the topics which will help you live longer in better health. I'm your host, James LeBague, and I work as a registered sport and exercise nutritionist and advanced clinical practitioner in family medicine. We know that there are a couple of proven contributors to successful weight loss. Things like a healthy, balanced diet, staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, and exercising. But even if you do these, do you sometimes feel like you struggle or lose motivation along the way? Lots of clients I've worked with in the past specifically focus on weight loss as the primary outcome. They focus on eating the correct calories and the number on the scale, and that's it. But they miss out on a potential huge factor which positively impacts your chance of weight loss, and it's the weight loss mindset. By using these 10 mindset tips, you'll put yourself in the right frame of mind to get started on a weight loss journey, stick to your targets consistently over time, and get to where you want to be. So let's go through these tips to help you develop a healthy mindset for weight loss. Imagine for a moment that you're a sculptor, about to start on what you want to be your masterpiece. You want to be proud of what you've accomplished and know that it won't happen overnight. It'll take dedication and time, but every action you take, every stroke of the chisel that gradually shapes your art is important and a positive step towards the finished product. This is the way to think about your journey with weight loss and how you frame your actions. Choosing a healthy meal and choosing to exercise should be seen as successes, contributing to the person you want to be at the end. This tip revolves around changing your self-image, moving from a struggling, unsuccessful dieter to a healthy and balanced person. Research shows that body image is associated with weight, and people who have self-image issues are less likely to lose or maintain their weight. They are also more likely to avoid exercising even when they try to control their weight. But by focusing on healthier life choices, not because someone says so, but because you want to do it for your own good, is such a powerful way to feel more confident, motivated, and proud of yourself. It's normal to want results quickly. We want to see the scales change and we want something to show for the hard effort that we put in. We're so used to things happening quickly and instant gratification that it's only natural. And let's be fair, it's shown in the media too. Diets that help people lose 15 pounds in the first month are all the rage and sound so appealing. But there's a problem with this, and it has stopped heaps of people from hitting their goals in the past, and I have no doubt it will stop people in the future too, because it's so common. People want to lose weight quickly, and this creates bad habits and weight loss changes which just aren't sustainable over the long term. The key to this mindset tip is to have realistic expectations for weight loss from the very beginning, because this will help keep you on track and not get discouraged if you aren't seeing dramatic results. Current guidance recommends that 0.5 to 1 kilos per week or 1 to 2 pounds per week is a healthy rate of weight loss, and this is what I would suggest you aim for. This is the rate which is sustainable and will allow you to follow a diet that you can enjoy, because you'll still be able to eat food which is fun and satisfying. Setting realistic and achievable goals will also make you feel more motivated along the way as you accomplish them. Imagine ticking off your target every week for months at a time, rather than seeing a failure week on week because you've set your goal too high. There was a study called Weight Loss Expectations in Obese Patients and Treatment Attrition, an observational multi-center study, and it investigated weight loss expectations and found that in 1,785 obese women, the ones who expected to lose the most weight in a short time were the most likely to quit the program. So rein things in a bit and set some realistic goals. Imagine a world where colours were labelled good or bad. You'd find it difficult to enjoy the bad colours, and the chances are you didn't even get to decide what colour was bad. Someone else decided for you, or you were taught it from a young age that it was fact. This is how so many people approach food, and this is one of the killers for long-term consistency with your diet. One of the things I'm incredibly keen to tell Hurry the Food Up members about is that no food is strictly off limits, and to see food as more than just healthy or unhealthy, good or bad. All food is somewhere on a spectrum of this healthy, unhealthy range, and contrary to what many think, its value might change depending on the situation. I've spoken about this before in episode 6 of this podcast, but junk food can actually be super useful in the right scenario. And if you want to learn more about that, then go and check out the episode that's called Why You're Wrong About Junk Food. It's not as bad as you think. But labeling food as only good or bad is not conducive to creating a healthy relationship with food. Often, it means you'll force yourself to focus on the so-called good foods and stay away from the bad foods since you don't think they'll help you lose weight. Or you'll eat those bad foods and feel guilty for it, which creates a negative cycle of shame, avoidance, followed by clean eating, repeated. If you deprive yourself of the foods and drinks you love, then you'll probably end up quitting your plan because it's just not sustainable for you. What you should do instead is to have that indulgence of yours whenever you really need it, but in a balanced way. If you want some wine, then have a glass. If you're craving some ice cream, don't eat it straight from the tub. Put a few scoops in a cup and enjoy it. Sure, it probably shouldn't be an everyday thing, and you've got to understand it might not align with your weight loss goals that day, but it's not going to ruin your overall plan. So stop labeling food as strictly good or bad, and instead see some foods as everyday staples and others that are appropriate in moderation. Many people forget that it took years to gain weight. It didn't suddenly appear overnight. And likewise, it won't disappear overnight either. As we've already been through, realistic expectations are so important. But sometimes, even if you know this, looking at the scales and focusing only on that number can cause you to get frustrated and sometimes want to throw in the towel. But there's one mindset shift here that can help you to stay on track with your goals and has the potential to reinforce the positives even when the scales aren't budging, and that's to focus on the non-weight benefits. The scales aren't the only indicator of weight loss, nor is your weight the only thing that will be affected by eating and living healthier. Do your clothes fit better? Do you sleep better and have more energy during the day? Does your skin look clearer? You will probably find these things happen as you lose weight, and they are just as important as the actual numbers. This is actually one of the things that comes up in our private Facebook group with our members who follow our plans. They'll mention that despite the scale not moving, they've made positive decisions and feel better about themselves for doing so, and it's so useful to cultivate this habit. If you want to check out one of our plans, then you can do so at hurrythefoodup.com/try, that's TRY, and get started with our vegetarian weight loss plans that make the process simple for you. I'm a bit of a nerd, and one of my favourite book series is called The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. After going through an incredibly tough period, one of the main characters says a line which is so relatable. He asks, "What's the most important step someone can take?" It's the next one. Sometimes when you look at the big picture, the big goal, things can seem overwhelming, and the same goes for losing weight. Just the act of being in a calorie deficit isn't easy, and if you then consider how much weight you want to lose, what meal plans or recipes you're going to follow, how long it will be until you hit your weight goal, then it's not surprising that many people don't even get started. The mindset change that is important here is to make small changes that fit into your lifestyle rather than sudden, drastic changes. For example, if you decide to suddenly stop eating carbohydrates, commit to running every day, and set your weekly weight loss goal way higher than it should be, then that's a recipe for quitting. Instead, aim to make one small change at a time. So maybe switch from putting sugar and cream in your coffee to using a sweetener, or make it your mission to walk for 10 minutes a day. Once you succeed at one, you'll feel more encouraged to accomplish another goal in your weight loss journey. And when you take things slowly, you'll see that these changes become a lifestyle for you. When people try to lose weight, they often focus on their final weight target, and this is something called an outcome goal. It's super important to have this outcome goal because if set correctly, it creates a beacon for where you want to get to. However, focusing only on the end goal may ruin your motivation in the short term, and this goal setting error can really derail your efforts. There are ways to get around this which will help you stay consistent with your aims, and this mindset tip is to shift your focus towards progress goals. While it's not particularly sexy, using a framework like SMART, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely, can help you to create realistic, shorter-term goals that will make the journey seem much more manageable. Instead of "I want to be more active," try "I will go for a walk for 10 minutes a day." Or instead of "I will never drink soda again," try "I will drink only one soda per week." Setting small, defined, relevant goals like this will help you to stay motivated and put you in a positive mindset for weight loss. When you start your weight loss journey, life carries on around you. Sometimes it might seem a bit unfair when you feel like you're on a roll, or you might feel like you don't have any extra capacity to deal with additional pressure. But the truth is that there are still birthdays, holidays, social events, and stress factors at work or home. You might not be able to change them, but you can change your mindset towards them, and by doing this, you'll reduce the chances of you falling off the wagon. When you go away on holiday, I'm willing to bet that you run through the different situations and events that you're likely to encounter. Maybe a beach day, maybe a couple of evening meals out, maybe visiting a local park. And because you've gone through them, you pack the right clothes and footwear. It's no different with managing weight loss, and preparing in advance is key to staying on track. Understanding that there will be challenges and setbacks is crucial because it gives you the opportunity to plan how you're going to manage them and what coping strategies you have, and importantly, try to disassociate emotion to eating. One study called Behavioral and Psychological Strategies of Long-Term Weight Loss Maintainers in a widely available weight management program highlighted that psychological coping strategies are a key predictor in weight loss or weight maintenance for those who have reached their goal weight. And so this is something that you should have in your toolkit. Learning to manage cravings, especially in relation to stressors, is absolutely invaluable. But how do you cope with these stressors? Well, try to come up with some strategies for when you know you're at your critical points, like when you're tired, stressed, or sad. When you do feel like it, then perhaps you could go outside and take a walk, read your favorite book, or do some painting. Essentially, whatever you need to do to take your mind off things while you get over that craving and link to emotional eating. Remember when you were first learning to walk? Did you walk just like that, without falling down a couple of times? No, of course not. You fell, got back up, and tried again and again until you learned to walk. The same is true of riding a bike. No one expected you to be able to do it first time, and it was accepted that things might not always go smoothly. The same is definitely true for a weight loss journey. You're going to have some downers during it. This is perfectly fine and it's normal. And if you can understand this, it's going to make a huge difference to how well you can stick to your long-term plan. If you don't, then it's so easy to let your negative thoughts get the better of you and make you want to give up. But learning to accept that things won't always go to plan is an effective mindset technique for losing weight, and it's something you can use on a daily basis. And remember that you can try out one of our vegetarian meal plans for weight loss using the link hurrythefoodup.com/try. That's TRY. We've done all the meal planning for you and included a grocery list to get you started on the right track. I recently had a catch up with one of my clients who told me that she had been doing quite well with her diet until she hit a stumbling block. She scoffed her Easter chocolate in one go. She knew at the time she didn't want to do it, but had been feeling a bit low and decided to do it anyway. Obviously, this wasn't ideal, but do you know what the amazing thing was that you can use if you take the right mindset approach? The next meal was back on her plan, and she got stuck into her routine. The trap that people commonly fall into after something like this is to just think that everything is lost and it's not worth sticking to the plan for that day. Maybe they'll try again tomorrow, or perhaps later in the week. But by changing your mindset to avoiding the all or nothing approach, you can make these episodes just part and parcel of life, because they can and do happen. If you had pizza for lunch, don't blame yourself and go all the way in for another high-calorie option for dinner and say, bugger it doesn't matter. Instead, enjoy the pizza at lunch and aim for a dinner that's more in line with your goals. Allow yourself some flexibility and some empathy. Remember that one pizza will not ruin all your effort and your overall journey. It's all about the long term. I mentioned earlier how important it is to have a realistic long-term goal because it creates a beacon of light for where you want to get to, where you want your future you to be. The best way to get there is to be able to stick to a diet and healthy lifestyle over the long term, something that's going to keep you on that path and moving in a positive forwards direction. Part of that means ingraining routines that are easy to do every day so that they become a habit. Humans only have a limited capacity, and removing the conscious effort from tasks and making them routine offers so many benefits when it comes to losing weight. When you've got your breakfast routine nailed, you no longer need to think about it. You can then focus on something else, like taking a healthy lunch to work, or creating an afternoon snack that satisfies your cravings and stops you eating sweets. By creating new habits, you free yourself to work on another aspect that's going to get you closer to the person that you want to be, and it's one of the most underused mindset shifts when it comes to losing weight. Remember that any change you make has to be sustainable because once you've got to your goal weight, you need to stay there, and creating habits that fit naturally into your lifestyle is a seriously powerful tool. Now, if you found this podcast episode useful, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a review on whatever platform you're listening on. It'll only take a moment and will help the podcast spread to more people and support them in their weight loss journey.